backwards looking, forward looking. James talked about this as a sense of me that is continuous across time. It also involves metacognition, that is being able to direct one's thoughts to one's own mental states, to remember one's past experiences and anticipate one's future experiences. Psychologists also talk about this as a kind of mental time traveling, projecting yourself into the past or recalling the past, projecting yourself into the future. And Damasio has talked about this as a kind of autobiographical sense of self, or extended, temporally extended consciousness. So this is a distinction then between two modes of self-awareness that is at root a phenomenological distinction, an experiential distinction. Now, these two ways of experiencing oneself are completely confounded in everyday experience. By that I mean they're completely mixed together. We experience ourselves now, we have a sense of ourselves standing here and speaking, or sitting in the chair, listening to the words, but we also daydream, our minds wander, we think, we ruminate, we time travel incessantly. We mentally rehearse what we want to say, or we go over what we think we should have said. So this connects with some of the things that we were talking about earlier today in terms of planning, among other things. But these two things are completely mixed together in any given moment. Any given moment of experience, you will find, I think most typically, a mixture of these things. So the question then arises, if present moment self-awareness and narrative self-awareness are mixed together, can we disentangle them? Now that actually can be raised as a question for neuroscience. Can we illuminate brain activity in the resting attention state? That's the state when you're not, say, performing some goal-directed task, but you're simply resting between trials, and neuroscientists have gotten very interested in this in relation to what's called the default mode of brain activity. So can we illuminate the activity in the so-called resting attention state, where these things seem to be mixed together, the time traveling and the present-centered awareness? Well, from a neurophenomenological point of view, here's how we might think about doing that. We could build this phenomenological distinction between these two modes of self-awareness into the design of an experiment. So this is what is sometimes called front-loading phenomenology into experimental design. The distinction here being these ones for two modes of self-awareness, but there are other distinctions, phenomenological distinctions, that we could employ experimentally as well. And we could use first-person methods to train subjects or participants so they can make this distinction flexibly in their own experience. And one way that we could do this is by drawing on certain kinds of contemplative practices. I'm thinking in particular of what is sometimes called open monitoring meditation, which is the cultivation of a kind of awareness of what arises from moment to moment without preferentially anchoring attention in any one place. Alan could describe this much better than I could, but a kind of open awareness that is alert and sensitive to whatever arises, but doesn't react to it cognitively or emotionally. And when the mind wanders, takes note of the wandering and returns the attention to that sense of being in the present. So, of course, cognitive appraisals and emotions are going to arise, but the idea is to notice their arising and to release them without engaging in some kind of good or bad evaluation or some kind of movement towards or movement away. So it would be, and as I